Hello guys. So today I'm going to show you a quick tip from one of the projects where making a soda can grow out of a tree. And this is a Vellum based simulation. So yeah, you can find the project on Gumroad, according with other files as well if you need them. So if you look at this animation, just a lowest primitive lines, we have these curves and this standing this cylinder right there. And then I'm using that to deform the high res geometry. Right, you can see the branches have some noises, and of course the soda can is the full model with the lid and everything right there. And also it has some UV textures as well. So yeah, so you can just use that high res geometry in the simulation. The simulation will be slow and maybe some things won't work well, like having this branch actually be rigid while it has all of this geometry, these point counts. This is too much. It will be slow, and you have to mess around a lot with the parameters for stiffness and everything. So just keeping it low res, simple. Your simulation runs fast. That's great. And then you just deform it to the high res. So let's start here with the tin can itself. So this the geometry I used for that soda can simulation. So you can see it starts small, then it just grows and gets heavy and drags the branches down. So here, instead of using, we normally use the point deform node, right? Most of the time. So I mean, in some cases it might work. For most simple things it works, but sometimes it doesn't work for complex stuff. So with this one, I found using this old method, which is actually better, so using the cloth capture and cloth deform. First of all, you need this cloth capture. It will create a weight attribute on each point, and that weight attribute will be used by the cloth deform to deform the high-res geometry, right? By reading the incoming animation from the low-res geometry. So this, just like the point deform, you always need the rest position for the incoming animation. So you want something that doesn't have any animation, right? This the raw resolution. So I just pick this frame. So this is the frame where they're both on the rest position, and use the close capture over here. There's only one parameter actually. It's just this the radius, which kind of like controlling the influence how each point on the raw res geometry is going to influence. So this one, you actually use this close deform for most geometries with primitive and points, everything with surfaces actually. But for something like these branches, there's a different there's a different system for it. Also from the old days when Houdini has a wire, it was called I think a wire solver. I mean, this was a closed solver before Vellum, and this is the wire solver as well before Vellum. So it has the same thing with the wire capture. You can check over here. Yeah, this works. It has a wire capture and a wire deform. So in some cases, you may need to separate your geometry. I mean, like right here, we do have a geometry and it's actually in pieces, right? Now, the thing is, when you are creating this wire capture, you might have some points influence another part of the geometry that is not supposed to it's not supposed to influence, right? Let me just show you. So let me just show you. Let me just disable this wrangle nodes that does the separation. So if we disable all these wrangle nodes that are actually separating the pieces before the wire capture, you can see the animation. It's not too bad, but we do have this jagged line, and that's because the capture, if we look at itself, how it works, especially this part where we have this uh, four branches intersecting over here. You might have the influence of a point over here might also influence the point on this other branch over here, and that's not good. And that's why you get these jagged points you can see right here. So to prevent that, you need to do this wire capture, which set the weights of each point from the raw resolution, show how much, where, and how much it has influence on the high resolution. So we keep that way. I've set up this thing just to separate, make sure each piece is separate from one another, and then I do the capture, right? Let me just enable this. Yeah. So everything is far away from each other. So this way, I can set the weight capture, the capture weight attributes, and when I deform it, when I deform everything, bring them back together and deform, we won't have that problem where we won't have any problem where we get this maybe a point from this branch affects the point to the on this branch, in deformation. Yeah, we'll get rid of that problem. I think you can understand that. You just need to separate. And yeah, when I was making this, I tried to use the for each loop to try to get this wire capture to work in a for each loop, so I can work on each individual connected piece, the branches, and that didn't work. I don't know why, but yeah. So the other thing I will think of, I think I came across a tutorial from Houdini Hive, someone who was making something like something similar, something with the tree simulation, and this was the setup. It just randomize the normals. You can see the normals. Yeah, you can just randomize the normals of each piece, promote them to points. Yeah, and then use that normal to separate each piece. Just a way, it's just a trick to make sure each piece is far away from one another, and then use the capture and then reverse that the separation right here. Yeah, so that's how we did these branches over here. So up ahead, if you continue down here, we do have some more geometries. We got little stems that are holding some fruits, and of course our fruits themselves. And finally, at the end, we add the leaves. Now, yeah, on the leaves, I think you can see this code capture in action much better because we can see this. We have this. The geometry over here is very low res, but the final geometry is very high res, and of course it has the UV. So if you wanna check this project, you can get it on Gumroad. You see, I got all this the preparation of the geometry up here, and setting up all the constraints and the attributes before simulating on Vellum for each section. Yes, and yeah,